we are here today for a joint presentation. One Firefly and Lutron are presenting Growing Your Business with One Firefly's suite of marketing services. And we're very honored to have been invited to do this in partnership with Lutron. And Kendall and I are super excited to be with you all today for the next hour or so. All right. I am Ron Callis, CEO and founder at One Firefly. I've been in the space for about 24 years now, so I probably know many of you. And I actually got my start in this career with Lutron. So Lutron plucked me out of college, out of Virginia Tech, studied engineering, and here we are 24 years later, and we're partnering in a webinar to the same industry. So super excited to be here.
Awesome. And my name's Kendall Clark. I'm the director of sales here at One Firefly. I'm actually coming up on my 10-year anniversary with the company, which is pretty neat. And when I first started and they plucked me out of college, I was actually building websites. Then I went on to manage our creative teams, our web team, our graphics, video production, our live chat team, done a little bit of everything. And recently I've jumped over to the sales side, which has been a lot of fun. So happy to be here. I see a couple familiar names even that I've probably worked with over the years. So I'm excited. And Kyle, you want to hop on and introduce yourself too?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Ron and Kendall. Hi, everybody. Nice to meet you. My name is Kyle Yamamoto. I am part of the Lutron luxury residential marketing team. Been with the team for just under a year now. So I've had the opportunity to meet some of you and hoping to meet many more of you on the call today. So thanks for letting us speak with you today. We're excited to dive in. We have a lot of good content to cover.
Awesome. All right, a little bit about One Firefly. So we have been in business since 2007, and what makes us particularly interesting, as Ron mentioned, is we are solely focused on serving this industry. So our business is based on designing and executing marketing strategies to help technology businesses like all of you grow. We have a team of 75 plus. I think we're actually closing in on 80 experts now. They're all not only trained in this industry, but experts at their marketing craft. And they're helping us manage at any time over 600 marketing campaigns month to month, which is kind of a fun number. So our business has really been founded on this principle of innovation. So, seeing what this industry needs, seeing what our customers are struggling with or what we can help them with, and then innovating and creating products based upon that. So with that, we have been recognized by the industry for some of these solutions that we've put together. We've won a couple Best in Show, have to show some of that off. And over the last 4 years, we've actually made the Inc. 5000 list, which is a fun accomplishment. Ron, I have to kick it to you. I know you can't be more than, 15, 16 in this picture, top left. You're very young, right? You're not a day over 30.
That is so fun. So this is actually from probably around September of 2000, which is, Lutron, when you graduate from college, they don't dare put you in front of a customer yet. You're not ready. I will attest. I was definitely not ready. And they put you through lots of training. So what was neat about this is they actually recorded those trainings back on good old VHS tapes. And I went and dubbed one of those over recently. It was like finding an old archive. And yeah, that's a picture of me from that VHS from some sales training where I was learning how to talk about dimming and the role of the dimmer in our lives. So yeah, that's a blast from the past. And then of course the man down there, and he's on this webinar. He's here as an audience member, David Weinstein. There's David with our team. And the neat thing about David is David was actually one of my trainers at Lutron 24 years ago. And so David was part of the leadership team there that was helping groom kind of the next class of Lutron personnel.
Awesome. So yeah, I think that picture was at the Women in CT branch at Cedia. But as you mentioned, we've been supporting Lutron dealers since 2007. The picture to the right is actually a video shoot that I was a part of that we did at the Ketcher facility and Lutron facility in Austin. That's at the one of the suites that they have. So we've done a lot of things with Lutron. We've supported dealers for years, but in 2022, we actually formalized that partnership with a press release, and I'll read you a quote from that press release. It said, "That's why Lutron is partnering with One Firefly, a firm that focuses deeply on this industry and can help our dealers grow. Investing in marketing is going to be a differentiator for dealers. We're excited for the future, as are we." So jumping into the agenda, introductions first, we took care of that, check, check. Now we're gonna jump into the One Firefly approach. We'll get into our marketing strategies. You'll learn why we're gonna start with the approach and then jump into strategies. We'll bring Kyle back to show you how you can utilize those DMC funds. And I promise we're gonna try and leave time for Q&A at the end. So Ron, I'll kick it over to you.
Yeah, so you can jump to the next slide. So at a high level, you know, when we talk about, you know, helping you all, helping integrators, helping these small businesses, it is a case where one size does not fit all. And it does require the understanding of where your business is and what your business is trying to achieve. And so it's really about learning about your business, frankly, taking the time to learn about your business in order to then make those recommendations. So over the next, you know, tens of minutes, we're going to help you understand our process, the process we take to understand your business, and then enabling us to make recommendations for you. Prior to jumping into that, I did want to jump into just a quick example. I'll tell you a bit of a story. And so there's a business owner, a good friend of mine at this point, but a wonderful business owner and leader in our industry, a gentleman named Lee Travis, runs a business out of Seattle. I say Seattle, now they're in multiple locations throughout the West, including Scottsdale and up in Spokane, Washington, and Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. But when I met Lee, he talked about his ambitions for growth. And this was actually back in 2018. So I had met him at a ProSource event. And what we ended up doing for that business was many different things, but it was only, and that relationship has evolved over time. So we've ultimately built their website and evolved their website over the last 5 or 6 years. You know, the list here on the screen are some of the services. This is not comprehensive, but this is some of the services that we've been providing this business going all the way back to 2018. And if you jump to the next slide, what you're going to see, some of the things that we've been able to accomplish as an example is what, you know, I don't want to use too many buzz terms, but this concept of SEO dominance. SEO stands for search engine optimization. It's the idea. And I ask for many of you to think about, where do you get your business? Many of you are going to say you get it through referral, but a lot of those referrals ultimately are going to the internet and they're conducting searches. And I'll just ask you, I can't see you raise your hands, but I'll just ask you, would it be a good idea if someone were to go to Google and type in, they're looking for a Lutron dealer in my city, looking for a Lutron dealer in Seattle, looking for a Lutron dealer in St. Louis? And the answer is, it would probably be pretty cool if you were on the top of page 1. So that's what you're seeing here on this example on the right, are just a couple of placements at the top of page 1 of search. All of you could type this into Google. Now, don't leave this webinar because this is riveting content. But if you open a separate browser and you open a tab, you could type that into Google, and you'll see why Pliant's actually at the top of search, in fact, above Lutron's luxury website. So that's pretty cool. So an idea like that is that helps drive brand recognition and ultimately helps you drive business. And then over here on the left, you're just seeing a quick snapshot of data capture around key phrases. And these key phrases have been a part of some of the strategy. Lutron specific, Lutron and Ketra, lighting and motorized shading, focused key phrases have been a part of the strategy that then we track and we look for growth month over month and year over year. We've had tremendous success with Y Pliants. And so if you all want to dig deeper and learn a little bit more about that relationship, we do have a case study on our website. There's the URL. Also back to what Kendall mentioned in terms of using your phone to take a picture. You can put your phone up to that QR code and it'll bring you right to that content in case you're curious. Lee, I did speak to Lee 2 days ago, and I mentioned that I'd be mentioning him in this webinar. And I asked him if he had a word of advice for the audience. And this was his quote he gave to me over the phone. He said, "The COVID gold rush is over. It's time to embrace the new normal." So we all can acknowledge that we're in a strange marketplace. Some of us are succeeding. Some of us are succeeding a little bit less. And nonetheless, the flow, the significant inrush of work that came with everyone staying in their home due to COVID, some of that is easing up, or if it hasn't evaporated completely in your marketplace. And so really the theme here from Lee, and Lee puts his money where his mouth is, and that is he's doubled down on marketing, and has invested all along, before, during, and after COVID, significantly in marketing and innovating the way that he presents his brand to his marketplace. And his business, as a result, has continued to thrive and accelerate.
All right, we saw a little preview of it. We're going to go ahead and launch a poll quickly. Ron, if you want to go ahead and phrase that question, I will get the poll launched.
Yeah, we want to know, what are you all predicting? I think we could get a neat little data set here. What are you all predicting for 2024? I know no one here has a crystal ball. If you do, please ring me up. I'd love to know what it says. But I think that it's not obvious. So what should pop up on your screens? Are you seeing? I don't see it on my screen, Kendall. Do you see it on your
screen?
All right,
let me go ahead and let's relaunch it here. There we go. We seeing that?
I see that, yeah.
Awesome.
So there's your one option, is that you think business will be better. Actually, it says in 23. It should say in 24. So there's a typo. Or no, business will be better than 23. So it is correct. My bad. So business will be better next year. Business will be about the same next year. Business will be a little worse next year. Business will be much worse next year. Or Ron, stop asking.
No idea.
I have no idea.
All right, we'll give it a couple more seconds. We got about 50%.
Yeah, participation. Let's see here. Give you guys another second. Let's get 60% participation. Come on, team. We can do this.
We're close.
58.
All right.
1 or 2 more votes. 59. We can't do it. All right. 60%. Let's publish that.
All right. Let's share the results. All right. Can you see those? We have about 40% of people saying that business will be about the same as 2023. 33% are optimistic, thinking that it will improve. Still a good number of people, 13%, think it will be somewhat or much worse. And 14 people are in the camp of who knows what could happen. I know we got an election year coming up, and becomes the Wild West of it.
Amen. And I know when we say the same as 2023, for many, 2023 was a flat or a down year. That probably would have been another great poll question for us to ask. We'll have to do that next time. Like, how was your 23? But let's keep moving along here. So I want you to think about, and I've actually been sick the last couple of weeks, so I have visited several doctors. So this is very relevant to me. If you go to the doctor and you tell them that you're sick and what medicine should you take, can you imagine that doctor, probably a good doctor, is going to ask you some questions? And if they ask you the right questions and they learn about your situation, then they can offer the right remedy or course of treatment. You can think of the way to think about marketing is the same for your business. So we can jump to the next slide, and what we will be looking at here is the One Firefly approach to helping you all with your marketing. And it does start out with this concept of discovery. So in discovery, if you can just imagine us being in a position as a consultant to help advise you on the things that you might want to do, we would first of all need to know about your business. What are you trying to do? How are you trying to grow? Are you trying to grow your lighting business or your lighting fixture business or your motorized window treatment business? Are you trying to move into a new market? Are you trying to do bigger projects? Are you trying to do smaller projects? Are you trying to do more profitable projects? You can see and. I could keep going with these questions and queries, but only if we understand your business. Now I'm going to go to the next layer. We also need to understand in discovery what you are willing to invest to accomplish those outcomes, and also within what timeline is reasonable for you to accomplish those outcomes. So if we understand your business strategy, we understand your willingness to invest, and we understand your timeline, we're now well positioned to start putting together a strategy that is likely to help you achieve that outcome. So as Josh is our East Coast account manager, his statement here is very true. We're only as good as the questions we ask. So the advice that we offer to you is only as good as the questions we ask and then the input that you provide to us. Kendall's going to take us through the next step.
Yeah, so that next step is what we like to call evaluation. So obviously we want to get to know you, we want to get to know your business, your goals, where you're going. But then in order for us to really provide you with a good set of recommendations, we need to take that next step down and understand, what are you working with? And that, I'll give you a couple examples. The first being your domain name. Let's say you are brand new in business and you just purchased your domain, a year ago, 6 months ago. That innately is just going to perform different on Google than maybe a domain name where you've been in business 20 or 25 years and you've owned that domain. Google looks at those two domains differently, and we design marketing a little bit different for each of those scenarios. Another one would be your newsletter list. Is your newsletter list 50 people, or is your newsletter list 500 or hopefully 5,000? You have a massive newsletter list. Those solutions that we're going to recommend are different based on what you're currently working with and what we can do with that. So again, Steven, another one of our account executives here, says just knowing, we need to know your current state to be able to design your future state. The next step that we're going to jump into, we're going to say that we've done this. We've gone through discovery, we've gone through evaluation, we've gotten to know your business, we know some of the assets that you have and what we're working with. We're then going to go ahead and provide you that set of recommendations. Let's say now you've committed, you've said, yes, let's go ahead and move forward with that set of recommendations, that prescription. Now we're going to jump into onboarding. And I'm just going to quickly touch on it just because it is part of our process. You've committed to a couple things. Let's say you're doing some web work. We don't require much from you, but we will require just a little bit of homework. So you'll meet with our onboarding team. If we're working on your website, we might need things like your website login. Again, very simple. I promise you it'll be easier than other marketing firms you work with, but we do require just a couple little things to make sure that we can get started on that campaign as quickly as possible. Again, as Justin said here, one of our onboarding specialists, a necessary step in the process. We try to make it as smooth and easy as possible for you. So Ron, I'll kick it over to you for some of the branding foundation projects.
Awesome. So if you can imagine, we now understand what you're trying to achieve. We understand what we've learned throughout discovery. We've analyzed the current state of your logo, your website, your marketing assets, your online presence, your social media. We've analyzed that starting point. We've looked at your online domain authority or online search authority. Now we are going to look at really two types of work, air quotes, that One Firefly would need to take on. The first type of that work are projects. And so what we're going to jump through now are the types of typical projects that might be applicable to your business. They are not applicable to every business. And so a good example of that would be if you have a beautiful logo that you love, then we are not going to come to you and tell you that you need to rebrand your company and rebadge all of your vehicles and build a brand new website. We're not going to do that. So if certain elements are looking great and in a good position, but maybe you're not doing these other things, then what we're going to do is focus on those other things. But let's right now look at some of these types of projects that we take on. And Romy, who's one of our amazing web designers, of course, she says, you should be proud of your brand. That's one of those things actually that we're going to learn about you and your business is, are you proud of your website? Are you proud of your vehicles? Are you proud of your literature? Are you proud of your business cards? So yes, we, One Firefly, have been building websites going all the way back since 2009. We've been building websites for integrators. We built well over somewhere around 700 or 800 websites for integrators around the world. And our flagship product for websites is called Mercury Pro. Mercury Pro features beautiful video that we have shot. So we have a significant library of content that we allow our clients on Mercury Pro to use. We've also built out, at this point, hundreds of page types that might be relevant based on the galleries you might want to showcase, or brands that you might want to showcase, or the services and solutions that you offer. So there's a whole portfolio of designs and looks. And of course, we'd be happy to take you through that. As we go through all these products, you're going to see QR codes. You can scan these, and it'll bring you directly into that product section of our website.
Awesome. I'll say one of my favorite new additions to the Mercury Pro product is the trade partner pages. Being able to speak to some of those trade partners and for them to have a home when they're visiting your website, I mean, it's invaluable.
Yeah, if you're doing lunch and learns and you want to be able to drive those architects or designers back into content on your website, those trade partner pages are a perfect solution. We also, for some of you that might be more, I say budget minded, it just comes down to strategy. But Atlas is a more streamlined, low-cost website solution from One Firefly. And it's actually a website as a service. Whereas in Mercury Pro, you're buying the website and you own it. In Atlas, you're actually paying a nominal monthly fee in the approximately $100 to $200 a month range. And now you're getting a beautiful brand presentation of your business. And for many businesses, that's then allowing for the allocation of monies into more of a digital marketing strategy. So if you have a finite amount of money that you're able or willing to dedicate to marketing, then Atlas could be a good solution for you from a web standpoint, because it would free up monies to spend in other areas. Logos and style guides. This is the idea that we either help you design new logos, or we maybe refresh the logo that you currently have. Maybe you still like it, but you don't love it. I want you to love it. And so with a little bit of attention and modernization, we can bring you up to date. And then the term style guide is a process of then helping you design really the brand standards around your logo use, your font types, your color and pathways that represent your brand, and documenting that so that if you work with a vehicle printer or a brochure printer or apparel printer, you can make sure that anyone in your orbit that's helping you with marketing projects is working off the same brand standards. That's one of the keys to effective marketing, is consistency. So you want to define how you should be presenting your brand. You want to write that down, and then anyone that's going to be working on that, putting a style guide together is a good way to help document that information. And then business cards. You know, by the way, I'm old school. I still like paper. So if you meet me in person, I will be handing you a business card. I am personally not a big fan of the scan my information and it goes somewhere. God only knows how many thousands of contacts are in this phone, and I don't know who those people are because they had me scan them. So sorry, I'll jump off my soapbox here. But if you are going out and meeting people, you have an opportunity. You have one opportunity in life to make a world-class first impression. So designing a business card that's beautiful, that's substantial, that has the look and the feel that you think appropriately represents your brand, that's a project that we love to take on and we'd be happy to help. Vehicle wraps. I think outside of a website, a typical integrator is going to get 200 to 1,000 sessions a month on their website. A bigger website or an integrator doing more marketing might have thousands a month. Only second to your website would be your vehicles in terms of the opportunity to put your brand and your brand message out there on the street. Your vehicles are parked in front of job sites. The neighbors for that project are the high probability opportunities to be your next customer. When you're driving in those neighborhoods, you want to be loud and proud. And so that does not mean the style of your vehicle design and art should represent your brand. And so that's personal to you. It's a personal conversation where we learn about you. It's not what we think it should be. We're going to learn about you and your brand and then ultimately design that and take you through a creative process where we help you understand what's possible. Brochures, again, goes back to paper, but if you're out there shaking hands, you're doing lunch and learns, you're doing home shows, you're doing model homes, it's a good idea to have a piece of paper, a brochure, a Z-fold, a tri-fold, could be a multi-page brochure that you can hand out to people or to your existing customers, because you give it to your existing customer and now they can give it to their friends and their family. It's just a good idea. Marketing slicks, same concept. This is usually referencing an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. Could be single side, could be double side, could be a cardstock or a letter stock, could be what you perhaps insert into a presentation folder if you are delivering proposals. And so you have your proposal, maybe you have your Lutron literature, maybe you have a marketing slick in there that's presenting some of the uniques about your company, and then you have a nice business card. Just a way to put a polished presentation out to your customers. Magazine ads. So there are many luxury publications in most major markets. And for many integrators, this strategy has been a staple of how they market their business. And so we, One Firefly, are happy to help you with the creative, whether it's quarter, half, full page, or full spread artwork in the form of ads for publications. So those are projects, and that's where I'm compartmentalizing. I'm putting up a little bit of a wall. Those things I just described are kind of one and done things, right? They're not ongoing marketing activities. You may pick up that maybe we do new marketing slicks every few years or something like that. But the other category is ongoing digital marketing strategies, i.e., if you are trying to grow your business in this way or that, what is the way that you can invest time, money, and energy, put it out there into this thing called the internet, and have that help present and raise and elevate your brand to help drive business in the door? That's what we're going to talk about now. So Ellie is one of our account managers. And I love Ellie's quote. She's like, always be marketing. Marketing is oxygen for your business. So what we believe here at One Firefly is that as an integrator, you should be investing somewhere around 2 to 5% of your projected revenue. So let me help you with that math. Let's say this year you did $3 million in revenue, 2023. And for many of you, we did that poll. You're thinking you're going to grow next year. So let's say that you plan to do 3.5 million in revenue next year. That's your target. So we're going to call that projected revenue. Our recommendation is you're spending 2 to 5% of that projected revenue, that future state. You are investing in your marketing as if you are already at that size. And so that is comprised of everything that we're talking about here, including digital marketing. So let's look at some of the digital marketing tools and tactics that we employ here at One Firefly. So one of those tools is something called blogging. I know many of you did not wake up in the morning and go, oh my goodness, I'm so excited to start blogging. Many of you are like, what the heck is a blog? I get it. Blogging is a tool. It's an instrument. In the term of marketing and content marketing, it's a pillar. It's a pillar. It's a pillar tactic within your marketing strategy. It allows us to focus content, original content. You don't want duplicate content. Original content around some focused phrase. Going back to that conversation where I said we've helped Lee Travis at Ypliance get found for Lutron-based searches in his market. The way that we've done that is through Lutron-focused blog articles that have been drafted, posted, SEO configured into that website. And so when you do this on an ongoing basis, it helps you get found in search. It also helps the visitors on your website have great content to consume. It also enables you to turn on an email marketing strategy and turn on a social strategy, because now you have new original content that you can link to. It really is a pivotal pillar strategy within content marketing. Even in this new age of AI and generative search, the fact is Bing and Google search engines are evolving quickly. What still wins, and Google is telling all of us marketers and SEOs still wins, is original, relevant content focused on the search query. It is still best to do that.
And thought leadership content too. Keep in mind, this is not salesy content. This is not product X, Y, and Z. This is really selling informational thought leadership, the experience.
100%. So email marketing, I don't want to say never. I'm not sure I believe in absolutes, but I'll say very rarely are you going to see One Firefly advocate sales type emails, because your customers, your architects, designers, builders, realtors, and end customers, they don't want to be sold. Okay. But they do want to buy. And so what you can do is you can continue to put in front of them educational information. The fact is, they do not know the latest and greatest fabric offering from Lutron. You might know it because your Lutron rep's been in your office and trained your team. Your customers do not know that. And so by putting out regular email, we call them blog topic email newsletters, because we're going to give the tease in the newsletter, and the click, you can see here, the learn more button is going to drive that audience over to your website to consume the content. Why? Because your website is the destination where you have the highest probability of converting that traffic. So the key is we want to be putting regular, thoughtful, smart, interesting content into this newsletter format and getting that off to your customer list. Many of you watching, dare I say, I won't make anyone raise hands, might not be communicating with their customers on a regular basis. And if you aren't, it's actually, you're sitting on a gold mine, because your customers are the folks most likely to buy from you again, and they're the ones most likely to refer you. And so you want to stay in front of them, and email marketing is still, even in 2023, one of the best strategies you can employ.
It's funny, I was just talking to one of our customers at a recent event, and I said, hey, how are things going? How's your campaign going? And he said, Kendall, it's so simple. Why have I never been reaching out to my existing customer list? We've been doing it for a couple months, and outreach and leads are just starting to kind of roll in with people inquiring what's new. It's crazy.
It is. And I'll just hit on a random point here before I jump into social, and that is the techniques that we're recommending to all of you. None of this is rocket science. All of you could employ these tactics on your own. You don't need One Firefly to do this. You could dedicate someone on your team. You could hire a local marketing agency. But what I can tell you is if you work with One Firefly, you're going to get the benefit of consistency. So whether it's your email or your blogging or your social media marketing or advertising, the key is consistently doing it. If you do it for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, it's not going to make an impact on your business. It's something that you always need to be doing. But jumping over to social media marketing, you know, the big platforms that matter to you and your business would be Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And the key is to put beautiful artwork here on Y Pliance on the left. This is an image of one of their projects. Y Pliance does a tremendous job of regularly photographing their projects. And that content then is available to our social media team that then is putting out that content on their behalf. And additionally, Lutron has beautiful artwork that they do make available to their dealers that Lutron does make available to us to deploy on your behalf. So you're not restricted to not participating in social media if you don't have content. Lutron does help you out, and we also have content that we can help you out with. But we will tell you what's best is your own content. So when you are photographing your jobs, your people, your office, the day-to-day in your life, and then you're getting that content deployed on social media, that is typically going to make the biggest impact. Paid search advertising. So, if you all go to Google and you type in that search, maybe you go to Google and you type in, the best Lutron dealer in my city, what you're going to see is at the top of that page, you're going to see ad results. And so that is the result of what's called Google advertising, Google Ads. And so you can design keyword strategies that matter to you. Maybe you want to be found for Radio Raw 3 searches, or maybe you want to be found for homework searches or Lutron searches or motorized window treatment searches. You can design a Google ad strategy. We can design a Google ad strategy on your behalf that then is helping your business show up at the top of page 1 results. And so the reality is getting found on page 1 of Google, it does matter, and getting found at the top of page 1 matters most. And Google ads are the way to buy your way into that position. So whereas SEO and blogging is an awesome strategy, but it's a slow drip strategy to grow your brand, Google Ads is a strategy, as an example, that you can pay to play. So if you want to pay to be the dominant person in your market for a set of keywords, you can do that. And as long as you have budget, then you have a high probability of showing up at the top of page 1. And yes, this does drive business. And yes, this does drive lead generation. So paid social, this is similar but different. And so how could I describe some of the primary differences? Number one, it costs less. So advertising and I'll be specific here, on Facebook and Instagram costs less, but it's also a prospect that's going to see your brand. They're going to be a little bit more up the sales funnel. You're targeting them because of demographic profiling or retargeting. They don't necessarily know about you, and they may or may not be in the market for what you have to offer. So in exchange, it costs less to drive that traffic. Whereas Google Ads, I would say, is the next, air quotes, more expensive strategy because it's more of a bottom of the funnel strategy. And then the most expensive strategy in advertising right now is actually LinkedIn advertising, but it's also purportedly the most powerful, because LinkedIn ads is going to get you in front of architects, designers, builders, C-level executives. So you're getting a very refined audience to put your message in front of. And as a result, you're going to pay for that click, but it should be driving higher quality traffic into your website. I'll put it at a high level. What you're seeing me do here is rattle off a number of different tactics, and I'll take you through a few more. At the end of the day, what we do is we ultimately put these together into what we would call an integrated strategy. So rarely do you ever see One Firefly saying, okay, I understand what you're trying to do. What you need is Facebook ads, and that's it. Typically, it's more of an integrated strategy to help you accomplish those goals. Lead Concierge. Back in 2017, we, One Firefly, launched this. Initially, it was an idea. And since then, we've proven this idea to be so true. And that is that if you put a human on a website and you pop that up and you ask the person on the website if they would like any help, The result is you get significantly higher rates of conversion on the website, ultimately in all engagements. But what matters most to you is lead generation and service request. Now, you're also going to get a lot of other noise off your website. That's just because there's a lot of traffic on your website. But by putting a live chat agent, and what makes Lead Concierge unique is that One Firefly mans this live chat. So we're running this live chat. Normal hours are 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. In the last year, we launched extended hours. So we actually will start it at 7 a.m. and we'll run it to 8 p.m. at night. And it is awesome. If you look at Lead Concierge, it's probably one of the most raved about services at One Firefly. It's not that Lead Concierge on its own would deliver those results. I just want to manage expectations, because you have to have the traffic driven into your site, and then you got to throw up the net so you can catch the fish. And Lead Concierge is that net. Video Pioneer, back to us standing on our soapbox and telling you all to photograph and video your jobs. Last year, we launched video production services to help you video your jobs. So we will actually send the camera crew out. We will help you with pre-production. We will do all of the post-production so that you have video content suitable for your website and social media. And this content is content that you wholly own. So what we've talked about are projects, singular one-time projects, and then digital marketing. Well, the reality is digital marketing is always happening, or marketing is always happening. So you can see this here in the cycle. And what we have to do once we've designed your digital marketing strategy is we have to launch it. So we'll jump to the next slide. So as Callie, who's actually on our social media team, to get your flywheel turning, you need to start inputting energy. And so we got to put a strategy into play. And that strategy is then captained with a person at One Firefly called your account manager. So whereas you might interact with myself or Josh or Steven or Kat on the sales side, or Kendall on the sales side, once you start partnering with One Firefly, you're working with an account manager. And that account manager, as you can tell on the left, if you look really closely, I used generative imagery. I actually used ChatGPT to help me with this image. So if you look at the words below, they actually aren't all spelled correctly. We know that those were not typos. This is a generated image. I gave it a prompt describing the visual, and this is what it gave me. But this represents our account managers accurately. You have a single point of contact that's managing the relationship, managing, understanding what's going on in your business, also executing the campaign and managing all the different players at One Firefly on the SEO team, the writing team, the email team, the advertising team, so on and so forth, that are likely doing work on your behalf. So although there might be one person you're meeting with every month, the reality is there's often anywhere from 5 to 10 people behind the scenes that are actually doing the heavy lifting of your marketing on an ongoing basis. This is a fun quote from Eric, one of our good clients out of Atlanta. He said, "The dedicated support from our account manager and the tailored approach to our company's needs within One Firefly have been instrumental. Excellent communication and a streamlined approach make collaborating with them effortless." Appreciate that, Eric. So once we've launched it, the key to good marketing is looking at the data. So let's jump to the next slide. And so here, oh yeah, there we go. So what you're seeing here in this on screen is an example of some of the data collection that we are using. So we have an enterprise level platform where your Google Analytics, all of your SEO key phrase, all of your social platforms, your email platforms, your advertising platforms are all being loaded into one environment. So just as if you were flying a plane, and I bet you in this group, we probably have some pilots. If you are flying that plane, and if you're flying that plane at night, you have to be reading your dashboard. You don't know your compass heading. You don't know your altitude. You don't know whether you're going left or right, unless you don't know your fuel, unless you're reading your dashboard. Well, the same is true for your marketing. We establish KPIs and define what are the things that matter. And then we are looking at that every month on our, well, and often, more often than once a month. And then we are reporting that back to you and helping you understand what that means. So that's where review marketing performance. Everything, we said at the beginning, one size does not fit all. Everything we do for every customer does not perform the same way. So the key is activating a campaign, using our best judgment to put something into action, looking at the data, but then being ready to review that with you, also understanding your company's objectives. I'll give an example. Maybe you were previously focused on small to medium projects, and maybe you were searching for those projects in one part of the city or town that you're in. And maybe due to this, the economy, things that are out of your control, maybe that focus is changing. Well, that's going to be an example of dialogue that needs to happen to your account manager so that we can change course of your editorial calendar and your social calendar to make sure that we are hitting the mark, because your business is dynamic and the marketing performance is dynamic. And that then takes us into the optimization phase. And so, Mr. Jordan, all right, we'll go back. I want to see Mr. Jordan's quote here. He says, the magic is in the relationship. For those of you that know our account managers, you know that we pride ourselves in the way that we build relationships with our customers. We are not transactional. We always focus on not being transactional, but really helping you over the long run achieve your business goals. And if anyone knows Jordan out there, you know that that's certainly true. So then what you're seeing here is an example. This is Google Analytics 4. I won't go too much into the weeds, but the reality is the landscape of marketing and metrics and performance are changing. Something that's happened just in the last 12 months is moving from Google, what's called universal analytics, which was the method or mechanism to track your website performance, into what's called Google Analytics 4. All of the data and the parameters are different. They need to be read and interpreted differently. And this is an example of that dashboard. But what within that optimization phase, what you're seeing us do is ultimately change what needs to be changed and add what needs to be added and remove what needs to be removed. And then guess what happens? We relaunch the marketing plan. And so this is something that it is not set it and forget it. If you're doing this in your business and you're seeing lackluster results, then that's a clue, is that your marketing methods should always be getting optimized to ensure they're helping you achieve your business goals. And here we have Kelly Anderson on our team, and she said, marketing should be dynamic. We take a human approach to optimizing your content and strategies. And that is so true. So, oh my goodness, look at that guy. He's even wearing a suit. People do business with people. We take pride in building lifelong relationships focused on mutual long-term growth. I mean, the reality is, folks, we've been in this industry for a while. We've been working with many of our customers for more than 10 years plus on the marketing side of things. And we do not see the transaction. We don't see the dollars. We really do see the people behind the business. And we are trying to help you run a better business. And we're trying to take some of that weight and burden of, this scary thing called marketing. And we really do our best through every interaction to help you understand it and help you design strategies that are likely going to position you for growth or to help you achieve those business goals that you're trying to achieve.
Awesome. Kyle, I think we're going to go ahead and pass it over to you.
Thank you, Ron and Kendall. Some great information so far and super helpful in terms of tactics and strategies. So hi, everyone. Again, my name is Kyle Yamamoto. I'm from the Lutron Luxury Residential Marketing Team, and I am going to share a reminder about where to redeem your DMC and what that general process looks like. So we've tried to make it as easy as possible for you with basically 3 core steps. The first is that you can work with One Firefly on what you need. Any of the wonderful options that they shared, so far in this webinar, complete that process and you pay them directly for the services. Once you have your paid receipt or an invoice with the total amount, you can then log into your My Business account to log the amount and submit the documentation. And from there, our team reviews the submitted information and applies the credit to an existing or an upcoming Lutron job. This is typically done within 24 hours, but our team will reach out if any clarification or, some additional documentation is needed. So as I mentioned, to redeem your DMC, you do need to log into My Business. And from there, once you click in and you see in the very top navigation, there's the DMC tab, it will bring you to your DMC dashboard. So there you'll be able to see the credits that you have available, and that will also give you an option to redeem them. When you click on redeem, you'll need to make sure that you have enough in your credit to cover what you're, including for redemption. And once you click on that, a screen will pop up with a few form fields with some simple questions for you to fill in. You fill in a few details, you enter the total amount that you're redeeming. And then, like I said, from there, it takes about 1 business day for it to be applied to your account. So if you don't have a DMC tab in your view in My Business, or if you have any questions that pertain specifically to your account, please reach out to your Lutron rep and we can help you get it figured out. But overall, we tried to make it super easy and simple for you to log in, redeem those credits, and continue to use them to your benefit.
Awesome. Yeah, kudos. It's a very simple process. All right, thank you, Kyle, and thank you, everyone. I know we're going to do some questions, but before that, just wanted to give everybody a big thank you for spending an hour, whether that be your lunch break or you took an hour out of your day to spend some time with us and learn a little bit about One Firefly. If you do want to get a hold of us, there's a couple different ways to do so. You can go ahead and scan that QR code, and that'll bring you directly to a landing page with some more information. You can email us, sales@onefirefly.com. Got our phone number listed. And through all of this, you could chat with us. You can chat with a real person on our website too. But through all of this, you'll get a reach out from one of our account executives. That may be Josh, Steven, or Kat. Ron and myself might also reach out to you. And we've enjoyed spending some time with you. So if you have any questions, I'm going to jump over to our questions tab. We have, how many minutes? We have 6 minutes to answer some questions. So feel free to type those in and let's see what we've got.
Don't be shy out there. Anything you want to know. And Kendall, you'll be reading through those.
Yep. All right. Let's see here. Okay, Ron, so let me jump over to this. First question. Can I use DMC to buy a new website?
Ooh, that is an interesting question. I like that question. Yes and no. Lutron is going to support or sponsor, and Kyle, if anything I say is incorrect, please correct me. They will support, to my knowledge, a dedicated Lutron or Ketra content that is dedicated and focused on their brand. But if you can imagine, if you have pages that have no brand representation, or let's say, oh my goodness, other brands, then Lutron may not want to use their DMC credit to fund that content creation.
Next question here. Have you been supporting Canadian clients?
100%. Our Canadian business is booming. Canadian, the CI channel in Canada is booming. We have amazing clients in Canada, and it's really no different. I mean, as far as we're concerned, they look and smell and act just like anyone from the US. Maybe there's a dollar translation issue. We do charge all of our services in US dollars. And so there'll be a conversion rate on your end for that.
Awesome. Another question here, maybe some more clarification on what kinds of marketing services can I use my DMC credits for. One place I'll point everybody is if you do want to go ahead and scan that QR code, there's a landing page that has a couple ideas for different packages you could use. Again, that's a starting point. As we mentioned, we don't lead with products and services. We want to get to know you. We want to know your goals and where you're looking to grow, but that can give you some ideas on a couple things. But Ron, I don't know if you have anything to add there.
I mean, to say where to spend it, I'd have to know who you are. What are you trying to do? What are you already doing? What has worked? What hasn't worked? How many dollars do you have to spend? Are you going to take out of your own wallet, or are you trying to exclusively only spend Lutron's DMC credit? I mean, we'd have to learn a lot more about you and your situation to make that recommendation. I make, I don't want to make it sound laborious. It can be a quick chat, but there is information we'd have to know to answer that for it to be more factual or on target.
Awesome. Another good question here. Having such a good chunk of the customer integrator market, how do you solve two competing dealers geographically if both are mutual clients to One Firefly? That's a great question.
I love that question. One of my favorites. The reality is you're not all the same, and you all aren't willing to invest the same. And so it gets into tactics. I mean, if you think of your website as the hub, I'm going to use a hub and spoke model. If you think of your website as the hub, and if you think of the spokes as being traffic sources into your website, traffic sources could be, and I'm going to rattle off a bunch of things, but it could be Facebook or Facebook ads or Instagram ads or LinkedIn ads or email or SEO or SEM or retargeting or and redirect from your manufacturer websites, right? You have a lot of different traffic sources that potentially could help you boost your business. And you all of the customers in the same marketplace are not willing to focus on the same targets, services, solutions, or brands, and the same geographies, and then invest at the same rates. So for those that do invest closer to 2 to 5%, not saying do it with me. I'd appreciate it if you did it with One Firefly, but you don't have to. You can build an in-house team and spend the same money. So if you spend that amount of energy, because that money translates to energy. And so if I spend that amount of energy, you're going to have a chance to become dominant in your marketplace. Full stop. Most of you won't do that. And so those that do are going to be the players that are more dominant in terms of branding and marketing in their markets.
Awesome. We have two similar questions around the same theme here, both talking about either small markets, small revenue, or being a smaller company, but still focused on growth where their budget might not be nearly as large. At what point is a shift from DIY to a proper firm more beneficial? And this other one, how does your approach differ in small markets given our total revenue is less than bigger markets?
Wow, a lot of different questions layered into that.
Yep.
So I'll just say, the reality is all right, so I'm going to go back. I love to play chess. And so a chess grand champion named Bobby Fischer, he has a famous quote, and he says, there's always a next best move, regardless of where you're at on the chessboard, regardless of beginning of the game or end game, there's a next best move. So regardless of your size, or regardless of your status online, meaning how mature is your brand on the internet, there's a series of next best smart things to invest your time, money, and energy into. And so and by the way, I didn't say this previously, I'll say it now. If your revenue is less than $1 million, you probably need to be closer to that 5% of spend. Then if you're over, I'll say if you're over 10 million, you probably could be closer to the 2% of spend and be nicely competitive and dominant in your marketplace. And so I would have to understand that small business and understand, are they currently doing anything for marketing? What is the current state of their website? What is the current state of frankly, business? What is this? This sounds familiar because I'm going back into discovery. I'd have to understand that small business and then the current state of that small business. But I want you to rest assured, there are smart things to do, even if you're not the biggest business. Guess what? Those big businesses one day were a $1 million business, and one day they were a $500,000 business. So there's not good or bad. It just is. It's where you are, what's the right place to put your time, money, and energy. And that's really the approach we built here at One Firefly, is to help consult you through that process. You're not going to call us and get a sales pitch on a this or a that. In fact, I would not want to do you a disservice and sell you a $200 thing that you might be able to afford, but is probably not going to make a dent in the universe, right? So you could spend $200 very poorly, or you could spend $1,000 very effectively, giving you a higher probability of making a difference in your business. And that just comes through us interacting and learning about you.
Awesome. And then the last piece of that was small market versus large market and differences in marketing between those two.
Yeah, it comes down to, what is your ICP? What's your ideal customer profile? Who are you targeting? Who are you trying to get in front of? And I'll use another fancy term. What's the total addressable market, TAM? How many of those people in your marketplace exist? And then we have to give it a thoughtful think in terms of where are those people spending time. And so another factor that matters is how quickly, time matters here, how quickly do you need to see an impact? For example, we're big advocates of SEO and email as a great strategy to slow and steady build your dominance online. It's an awesome strategy. Blogging and SEO, though, are slow. They're effective, but they're slow. But when we couple that with an email strategy, if nested if here, if you have a reasonable email list, then we could activate an email strategy and get you communicating with your customers, and that could make an immediate impact. So it's just a matter of understanding your market, but I guess you could rest assured, perhaps, we're working with integrators in small, medium, and large markets throughout all of the US and Canada. So we have experience helping integrators, probably very similar to you. You will not be the first time we've heard whatever your situation is.
Awesome. I think that's our last question, except for one more that says, does Ron only have
one more in? Let's do it.
Oh no, you'll laugh at it. Does Ron only have One Firefly t-shirts in his wardrobe? And the answer is yes, we all only have One Firefly t-shirts in our wardrobe.
I have a stack. I think not at all when I get dressed in the morning. It's awesome.
Yep. Awesome. I think that's it. Well, thank you, everyone. If you have any questions, please reach out. And it was a pleasure spending an hour together.